You're listening to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude with Miranda and Horsemanship, where we discuss training wins and fails, mindset, personal growth, and everything in between. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or reins and let's ride. Hey there, it's Miranda Allen, and welcome back to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude. Today I had quite the interesting morning that I thought, you know what? I think we need to talk about this. I recently had a conversation with a good friend of mine who had applied for a horse related job and didn't get it. And she was very, very bummed out and was upset, thinking, hey, I was the best applicant. Why wasn't I chosen? And she had some other things going on with her personal life. And I'm like, girl, the universe has your back. Trust me. Right now is not the time. I truly think you have something bigger and better in the works, and it's coming. You just got to be patient. And today I had a wild morning. I was taking my son to the dentist, and when I got out of the truck, I heard that pss of the air of one of my tires, and I just thought, "Oh goodness, here we go." I have a spare tire. I very well know how to change tires. However, our spare tire is the mount is seized up and we don't know how to get it down. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get in. We're already late for this dentist appointment. I guess I'll just call AAA and stay stranded here for a couple hours while we're waiting it to get taken care of. And I hope that they can figure out how to patch it or something. And so I go inside and explain to the receptionist, I'm like, hey, I need to step outside and take a phone call. I got to try AAA. And she said, hold on. No, there's a tire place right down the road. Could be walking distance. She goes, let me call them. And she could tell that I was, I think, panicking. It's just like, oh, dreading, how am I going to, I'm a half hour away from home. I don't want to be stranded with a 3-year-old. Like I was just panicking. And she gave them a call and they said, yeah, we'll be right over. And I'm like, what? And sure enough, they were over within 5 minutes. They popped off the tire, took it back, patched it up. And as we were walking out of the dentist office, they were putting it back on. And I could not even begin to fathom how this just all worked out so perfectly. And I realized I couldn't help but laugh. This was the perfect example of the universe has your back. And I couldn't wait to tell my friends about this and just see what I told you. Like the universe is always looking out for you. So a big shout out to Schrader Oil and Tire in Blissfield, Michigan. I super appreciate you coming to my rescue this morning. And I just couldn't help but laugh because there's a few things with my business that I have big goals that I just feel like the timing hasn't been there. And I've just been so frustrated and down about it. And this was just a perfect, I think, flex that the universe needed to show me of, hey, listen, we have your best interest. Take your own advice. Trust that the timing will be there when it's ready. And it got me thinking back about how many times with our horses that there's something we may desire to do, such as go on a certain trail ride or go to compete at a specific show or maybe buy or sell a horse. And it just doesn't work out. And it's so frustrating. But then sometimes you do find out why, and sometimes you don't. And that's okay. Sometimes we're not meant to know why things don't work out the way that we hope they would. But how many times have we wish we bought a certain horse and then we come to find out that the right horse for us was going to walk into our life, a month down the road? For me, a perfect example that I love to share is when I was looking for a college internship. I was reaching out to any and every professional horse trainer out there. I love barrel racing, but I also really liked reining and cow horse. I knew nothing about, but I'm like, it'd be interesting to learn about it. And there was this one reining trainer in Montana that I really wanted to intern with. And I did a clinic with him and it went well. And he really liked me. And he had made jokes about hiring me when I fell off my horse and I jumped right back on. And then he wasn't able to say yes when I needed to have an answer. So I just kept reaching out. And then that's when I came across The lady who I did internship with, Annie Reynolds, who is one of the most amazing horsemen, one of the most amazing women in the Western industry. And I ended up having the most phenomenal internship that I could have ever dreamed of. And after I had already said yes to her, that other trainer that I had originally wanted to work for called me and said, "Hey, we'll take you." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I already have something else aligned. I greatly appreciate it." After talking with my advisor over the internship, after I submitted all the final documents, she just laughed and said, "Here you were, so worried." And she didn't say this, but pretty much, yeah, the universe had your back. You ended up having a dream internship that was 10 times better than you could have ever imagined. And it is going to set you up for the rest of your life with the networking and with the skill set you've learned. And it has. I also think that sometimes when a potential opportunity comes into our life, it doesn't work out. We're not to get discouraged of that, oh, it wasn't meant to be. But I think it's also there to help us get excited for a reason. A while back, I had a couple different horses that people had reached out saying, "Hey, I'm interested in you coming and working my horse." And I was I was surprised how excited I was. And I realized, oh man, I do really want to get back to training horses. Because right now I'm just giving lessons, but this was actually like legging up or training these horses. Both of them fell through at just freak things with the owner. It had nothing to do with me. And I was so sad and disappointed, just like my friend was, over not getting this job. But then I realized it was the universe trying to get me excited and to look into different paths, because I then had a different perspective of, okay, I do want to get back to training horses. When I did recently get the opportunity to ride in the Phil Haugen Horsemanship Clinic, I had a little bit different of a mindset of going into it like, yeah, I do want to get back to training. I do want to be a horse trainer. And I don't think I would have had that had I not had those couple horses that were potentially offered to me and got me excited, got my blood flowing a little bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is where that spark is. Now, don't get this confused that, when the universe is guiding you and when the universe has your back, that it's going to be comfortable, because it's not. I was not comfortable this morning standing there panicking, figuring out how I was going to get my tire fixed. I was not comfortable getting rejection after rejection after rejection from all these different horse trainers that I was reaching out to when I was looking for a college internship, right? I was not comfortable when I got messages back from these different owners saying, "Hey, I sold my horse," or "Hey, I'm not going to be able to follow through with this," or "Hey, my job changed so I can actually have time to go ride my horse now." Like, those weren't comfortable moments, but you have to be willing to raise your hand, to stand up, and to say yes if you want something to work out. Another thing that I see so often is excuses. I come across a lot of people who have every reason in the book why something won't work out, and they preach about them. And then I come across other people who could have every legit excuse in the book, and they still find a way to make it work. I am one that, yeah, I've had excuses a time or two, but I'm trying really hard to learn how to not. When I find myself wanting to look for an excuse of why I can't do something, why I can't achieve or accomplish something, I now stop myself and I say to myself, okay, why am I not doing it? Is it something that I really want to do, or do I feel like I should do? Because if it's something that I probably really don't want to do deep down, but it's more of a I probably should do this, or it's a people pleasing type of moment, then that gives me permission to cut the cord and say, listen, I'm done. But if it's something that I really want to do, that's when I say to myself, you need to figure out how to make this work. Perfect example. This Phil Haugen clinic that I got to ride in back in the beginning of October. I had been following Phil for a few years via his podcast and signed up and taken some of his online courses and just loved the horsemanship that he taught and everything he teaches. So when I found out that he was coming to a clinic in Michigan back last December, I said, I am going. I would love to ride, but I'll be happy to audit. I am going. And I went to sign up. I was like, oh, I'll just put in a deposit for an audit. And then if I come around, find a horse, I'll make it work. Well, when I went to sign up for the deposit for the audit, I realized that the auditing was half the price of riding. That right there made me stop and say, how bad do you want it? Because if you're going through the hassle to go to this clinic, go all out. Figure out a way to make this work. So I ended up getting some money for Christmas, so I used that for the deposit, and I just shared it and I said, "Hey, I am going to this." And a friend of mine that I had sold my last horse to, she reached out and said, "Hey, I don't even have a horse yet, but when I do get one, I'll have one well in time for that. You're more than welcome to take them." And I'm like, "Okay." So here I am putting a deposit down for a clinic off of Christmas gift money, planning on using a horse that isn't even purchased yet. And sure enough, fast forward, when the clinic came, I had this beautiful buckskin gelding to ride who was the most sweet, willing horse. Everything I asked him to do was a yes, ma'am. I had the most amazing time. I learned so much. I had such a good open mindset. And all I could keep telling people was, I am meant to be here. The universe wants me here this weekend, because there is absolutely no way that I could have pulled any of this off without divine guidance, divine intervention. I say this just wanting to help encourage you to just keep your chin up for when the difficult times come, because they will, right? It doesn't matter if you spend a decent amount of time hauling a horse, you're going to blow truck engines, you're going to blow tires, good horses, they're going to get hurt. You only have so many runs with them, unfortunately. And so you got to make the most of what you have, and just know that the universe has your back and it will work out. It will. If this podcast today resonated with you at all, I'd love to hear. Please go ahead and, send me an email or send me a message on Facebook and, let me know your story. I'm very interested in hearing how the universe had your back, because I believe that when we share these stories, that's what keeps us going when times get difficult. Thank you for tuning in to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude. I hope this left you feeling a little bit more inspired. And if you've enjoyed it, I would love for you to follow the podcast and share it with a friend who loves horses just as much as we do. While you're at it, be sure to check out my website, www.mirandaallen.net, to stay updated on the launch of my upcoming online course, Essentials of Horsemanship. And until next time, remember, horsemanship is in the details.